We just moved to this awesome off-grid home in the forest, and it is time to unpack and get settled in. I'm Erica. I moved from the big city to an off-grid acreage with my husband and 2 kids. I share our intentional off-grid life to inspire and educate those who desire the same. And if you're that person, make sure to like and subscribe. Good morning, and just look at that sunrise. We got fires going in our 2 wood stoves. We moved here at the end of April, and so it's still quite chilly overnight and in the mornings. So I am beginning to unpack. I did some of that yesterday after moving in, of course, but there is a ton to do. And before I really get into it, I am making a snack for my toddler. We have breakfast at around 7 or 7:30 every morning, and then my toddler has snack time between 9:30 and 10, and then we have lunch at noon. So this is just a nice way to fill her up again, keep her happy between breakfast and lunch, since there is usually about a 5-hour gap there. And I always make sure to give her some protein, some cheese or a hard-boiled egg or something, so she'll actually be full. So I knew that getting the kitchen unpacked and organized first was going to be a good idea for me, because I do cook from scratch almost exclusively. And in order to keep that up, I needed to have all of my tools available to me. All of the dishes, baking sheets, utensils, pots, pans, everything that you need to cook from scratch. And you don't need that much to cook from scratch, but you do need some essentials, mixing bowls, all that. And so that's what I did first. And it took longer than I thought, and I think that's because I wanted everything to be in the right place, in the place that made sense. And I had to rearrange a few times because, well, I've just never worked in this kitchen before. So you put it where you think it should go, and then you kind of use it for a day or two, and then realize, well, I'm constantly walking over to this corner to get this thing and bring it all the way back to this other corner. So, okay, maybe I need to move it closer. This kitchen is really great. I'm really enjoying it. We've got a propane range to cook with and a wood stove right in the kitchen across from the range. And the wood stove is awesome. It's got the wood box on top and then an oven compartment underneath. You can redirect the flow of air from the wood box down into the oven and cook in there. And so that's going to be a learning curve for me, but I'm really excited to use that. Now, if you have kids, or even if you don't, I'm sure you could guess that when unpacking, you can't just unpack all day. morning to night. You need breaks. You need to attend to their needs and connect with them. So we took a break here, headed outside over to the shop. I will be giving a full tour of the house and the shop and the property eventually, but you can see here we've got on the right a little lean-to that's got some tools and equipment. You can see the generator we've got in the bottom left corner. It's outside of the shop. And yeah, I'll go into more detail in that in a future video. But we decided to take a little stroll around the property in a wagon. So got the kids in there and went for a walk. And it was great for them to have a break, but also for me, because I need breaks too. Now you can see this is the next day. And I'm starting to organize this pantry area. Now, the previous owners left a lot of stuff behind, and a lot of it was part of the purchase deal, but a lot of it was kind of unexpected. Like they left a lot of, food and expired junk. So I had to go through this whole pantry area and just throw out a lot of stuff. But I was left with quite a few mason jars, which I really appreciated because I want to be storing my food in glass as much as possible as opposed to plastic. So it just took a lot of work because I had to go through and throw out a bunch of this old food that was in the jars and wash them all. But that's a small price to pay for a large amount of mason jars. So I kind of went shelf by shelf here, took down the jars or whatever was in there, and restocked with my own stuff. Now here we are in the living room area, and when I started here, I was not sure where to start because when you move in and just everything is it's just dumped, right? And so I just kind of stood back and looked, think, okay, what am I going to do first? Well, I just picked one item at a time, figured out where it was going to go, cleared that area, cleaned it up a bit, and then moved it over there. So it's kind of tricky because I didn't have time to sweep, mop, wash walls, all that before things were moved in. So I just have to kind of clean as I go and as I rearrange things. Just as with the kitchen, I rearranged the living room a couple of times. You just don't know how it's gonna look and really function, how much space there's gonna be to walk around, chairs and things, until you finish arranging the way you thought it would work. So I'll give you a little rundown about the utilities in this home. Just a quick one, and then, like I said, I'll go into a whole video on that in the future. But we have 2 wood stoves, and we have a propane furnace in the basement under one section of the house that doesn't have a wood stove, and so that's what provides the heat to our house. And then we do have a well for water, as well as a fabulous rain catchment system that I'm so excited about. But the well, of course, is for the house, and then we do have outside
faucets connected to that as well. And the rain catchment system is for, outdoor use, so for the gardens. We've got solar panels and a diesel generator for our power supply. And then, like I said, the range runs on propane. It's been quite an adjustment having the solar electricity, because that is set up over at the shop. So the solar panels are on top of the shop roof, and everything is set up over there. And so we actually need to keep track of how much energy we have stored in the solar batteries, and we have to go over to the shop to check that. And we're working on installing a system so that we can monitor it from our phones and computers at our house, so we don't have to pop over there, once or twice a day to make sure that we've got enough power from the solar. But I mean, for now, the weather is pretty nice, and so going over there once a day is not hard at all. And we've got our chicken coop over there as well, so it's really not hard. Just a tad inconvenient, that's all. We are just loving the land that we own here. The house is cool, but the land is the real gem. And I'm really excited to show you guys that, because, man, I just feel so blessed. The view from my kitchen window is one of my favorite things. And then exploring outside and having tons to do in the garden to keep me busy. I just love it, and so do the kids. Especially my toddler, she is totally thriving. And if you don't make outdoor time a priority for yourself and your children, I really encourage you to, because my husband and I were talking about this, that since we moved here, and my daughter has had so much freedom to just honestly go outside whenever she wants. And she's been playing outside in rainstorms. She just wants to be outside. But she has been so much better behaved. There's been way less meltdowns, and she's just generally happier. So this was my first idea for an arrangement. And you might notice that we don't have a couch. And there's a bit of a story behind that, but basically we thought that we were getting the couch from the previous owners. That was pretty clear in my mind, because living room furniture was included on the list of things included with the house deal. But we hadn't clarified what living room furniture, and I guess they decided to sell it because they don't live close by. They live in another province, in a place that's already furnished. So I was really ticked off that it wasn't there when we showed up. And we had sold our 2 couches because they were not as nice as the couch we were going to get, or so I thought we were going to get. But, things happen, miscommunication, blah, blah, blah. And we had 2 chairs, and as I'm recording this, we've been here for a few weeks now, and turns out you actually don't need a couch. Doing just fine with those 2 chairs. So, say lovey. Oh well, I'm sure we'll get a couch eventually. So this is a totally different day. You could see I'm moving the desk to a different location, and that is where the desk has stayed. This has become our little work area. We've got the printer and the computer, everything set up there. And you can see that the living room is just off of the kitchen. Now we go into the laundry area. And you can see I've got one appliance there, just a washer. And so that's been an adjustment as well because I don't have a dryer. So I wash my clothes and all the laundry, and it either goes up in the loft where we've got a couple of lines set up in our drying racks. And it's very, very warm up there because it's just above the kitchen. And so the heat from the wood stove in the kitchen just goes right up there and dries things out really quick. So that's great. I also have a laundry line outside. So on the warm summer days when the fire's not going, that's what I'll be using. And so I'm just cleaning all these cupboards and drawers out, vacuuming and wiping them before I fill them up. And I'm excited about this counter space here on top of the washer and the cabinet because I've never had anything like that before. I've always had a stacked washer and dryer. And so it'll be nice to have that space to fold laundry. And I'll be able to see it once I get everything on top of it and put in its proper place. So of course I'm putting laundry cleaning supplies under here, and I decided to put my other cleaning supplies under here as well. It's fun getting things organized. I do enjoy it. It's quite overwhelming when you move because you have to organize literally everything that you own. But it's really satisfying as you get it done. You just feel more and more at home in your new home. So you can see that the laundry area here is just across from the pantry, and you can also see the stairs into the loft. So here I'm showing you just a bunch of the junk that they left behind. We just kind of threw it all outside, put it in boxes, and then we have this fantastic wheelbarrow that's huge. So all of our garbage we're putting in the shop until the day that the dump was open, which our local dump here is open Wednesdays and Saturdays. So we figured we'd just box everything up, put it into the shop here, and just take it when the dump was open because we just had to get it out of the house. You know, you got to get the things out that you're not going to use to make space to organize the things that you are going to use. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. And again, I'll be sharing tons of content in the future about our off-grid place. See you next time.